Welcome, everyone. It's Miss Gisa. As you may know, I love reading children's picture books, and I also love snails and slugs. So we're learning about snails and slugs this week, and I have a really sweet story to share for you called Herbert's Garden. And it is written and illustrated by one of my favorite authors, Lara Hawthorne. In a quiet corner of a garden, nestled between damp wood and leaves, lived a slug called Herbert. Like most slugs, Herbert spent his days munching through mountains of lettuce until his belly was full and it was time to sleep again. But one fresh spring morning, Herbert and his friends decided to go in search of a new lettuce patch. Theirs was almost gone. Herbert set off on his own to explore and was surrounded by hundreds of colorful flowers. Peering over towering blades of grass, he spotted a spider weaving a dainty web. Herbert looked on admiringly. "Oh, if I could only weave something as clever," he sighed. "How do you do it?" "Can't you see I'm awfully busy?" replied the spider, her 8 legs tapping up and down. "Step away from my masterpiece. Shoo!" So Herbert continued on his way. As the rising sun warmed his back, he decided to slip underground to cool down. He soon came across an army of ants marching through the endless winding tunnels. Left, right, left, right. Herbert was very impressed by all these little busy architects. "What wonderful tunnels you have created," he gasped. "I could never even dream of building something so spectacular." "You are far too slow to be down here," the ants shouted. "Move along, please. We don't have time to stop." Poking his head into the fresh air once again, Herbert narrowly missed being squashed by a big rolling ball of dung. He slimed after it, eager to know what creature had made this fascinating sculpture. It was a dung beetle. His smooth, strong shell glimmered in the sunshine like a jewel. But when Herbert caught up with him, the busy beetle wasn't interested in chatting. "Can't you see I have work to do?" he grunted. "Please let me pass." Herbert was fed up and very tired. He was no closer to finding a new lettuce patch, and he wished he could create something as special as the other creatures in the garden. With his feelers drooping sadly, he began inching his way up an apple tree to get a better view of the garden. Perhaps he'd be able to spot some lettuces from higher up. By the time Herbert reached the top of the tree, it was night. The garden was dark and cold. Just then, a gentle moth fluttered by. She was singing. "I can dance and fly and I look pretty too, but I wish I could paint a shiny trail like you." When the other creatures heard the moth's words, they stopped their work and looked around. Something about the garden was different. "That moth can't possibly be talking about me," thought Herbert. But peeping down between the leaves, he let out a little gasp. There, glinting in the moonlight, was a winding, shining, silvery path. Herbert was overjoyed to have made something so beautiful for the garden. And what else could he see below? A brand new lettuce patch. It was perfect. That evening, all the creatures stopped their work and gathered amongst the lettuces for a celebration. They spun and painted, weaved and munched, rolled, danced, and sang all through the night until it was finally time to sleep. Herbert was the last one to close his eyes. Just before he nodded off, he took one final look at the garden and felt perfectly content. Now he knew that even a little slug was capable of making something amazing. That night he had the best dreams a slug can have, those made of swirling, shining slime trails and plenty of fresh green lettuce. In the back of the story, you can read a little bit more about Herbert and his friends. The friends he encounters are also animals that we have chatted about in our life cycle unit. So if you haven't already, go to our life cycle playlist and learn a little bit more about those interesting animals. Everyone has gifts and talents. So, like Herbert, figure out what your talents and gifts are and use them to help make the world a better place. Thanks for supporting our channel. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe.